The scene is subtly crafted. Despite its casual appearance, it's just so clever that it often goes unnoticed. The crux is that Yonoi falls in love with Serious at first sight, captivated by his beauty, a sentiment a military man should not harbor towards a prisoner of war. This makes the situation confusing and the story interesting. In the original story, as in the film, Yonoi ensures that Serious is not condemned to death. In the film, Yonoi falls in love and tries to save Serious. If you watch the trial scene with this in mind, the whole film becomes very interesting. Yonoi starts to interrogate Serious. There he quotes the famous phrase, "to be or not to be, that is the question." Although there is no need to do that, he quoted Shakespeare because Serious is British. It is the expression of love as he wanted to appear himself to Serious. Serious glanced at Yonoi's rank insignia and said, "You know, Captain," and Yonoi introduced himself, "Captain Yonoi." It is not necessary also. It is also the expression of love that he wanted to be known by Serious. When Yonoi heard that Serious had been tortured, he ordered him to show the scar. Serious then took off his shirt and showed the scar. There is an opinion that this scene represents Yonoi's desire to conquer Serious or sexual desire, but it is probably wrong. This scene was not made with such intention. The reason of Yonoi's behavior is thought to be the pure one, that he wanted to appeal to another judges that Serious had been treated unjustly. After seeing the scar on his body, Yonoi ordered him to put on your shirt, as if he was embarrassed. What the scene portrays is upset of human who has seen the naked body of a person you love. Probably many of us have experienced to be stimulated your sexual desire when you have never expected and upset to yourself. This scene probably portrays such upset of a human who has fallen in love. And he insists that Serious is not eligible for death penalty because his actions were only those of a military man. As a result, Serious is sent to Yonoi's camp. Afterwards, Yonoi takes extraordinary care of Serious' health. His men are embarrassed by this. Yonoi obviously falls in love with Serious, a love that never be satisfied, of course. It is never allowed to fall in love with a prisoner of war from an enemy country, let alone with the same man. Yonoi himself is confused that he has such a feeling. As if he managed to subside his waving feeling, Yonoi dedicates himself to his sword training. Yonoi's shout is meant to sweep away his feeling of love for Serious. His voice is crying out that "I love you, Serious." Since the prisoners don't know this, they are frightened. Serious does not seem to be frightened and says something like this. If he's got something on his mind, why doesn't he come out with it? He doesn't seem to have noticed that for him the cry is a repressed love that can never be expressed. The next morning, Lawrence speaks to Yonoi on behalf of the prisoners. He tells him that the prisoners feel uneasy at his shout. Then Yonoi asks about Serious. The sick officer too? Major Serious, yes. I do not want the prisoners to become upset. Knowing that Serious feels uneasy, he decides to stop it. There's obviously something wrong with Yonoi. The one who first saw it as a problem was the PFC Yajima, who was doing sword training with Yonoi. He feared that his boss, Yonoi, becomes crazy and tried to kill Serious, but failed. And he committed harakiri. Yajima's feeling for Yonoi may not be love, but they may be something close to it. Yonoi is portrayed as a character with an inferiority complex in both the original story and the film. Although the rank of captain is elite, the commandant of the POW camp is not the role that a military officer can be satisfied with. The commandant of the military prison, played by Yuya Uchida, ironically introduced Yonoi as a famous man of spirit. It is clear from his behavior that he is a superior officer to Captain Yonoi. His rank insignia indicates that he is a major. Lieutenant Colonel Fujimura, the presiding judge, also said, "Captain Yonoi, your job is also decent service. It's better not to be in a hurry." He is implying that the commandant of the prison camp is a leisurely post. In the film, Yonoi has a past that he failed to take part in a coup. It is a February the 26th incident, as it happened on the 26th February 1936. Several government officials, including ministers and policemen, were murdered. The coup ends up in failure. That's why Yonoi was sent to a leisurely post. Many musicians play the role of Japanese soldiers in the film, but Sakamoto is unique among them. He studied classical music at university and went on to become one of the leading techno musicians. Yuya Uchida and Johnny Okura are the rock musicians. Kami, who plays Lieutenant Ito, is a folk singer. They had no academic musical training. Only Sakamoto is different. This must be Nagisa Ōshima's metaphor to express Yonoi's loneliness. Although Yonoi suffers from loneliness and an inferiority complex, he has to act with authority as the commander of the POW camp. This is where his conflict lies. In an attempt to resolve his conflict, he forces unreasonable demands on the prisoners. A typical example is when he forces the POW leader, Hicksley, played by Jack Thompson, to reveal a military secret. Hicksley doesn't obey. Yonoi, irritated, orders all the prisoners to leave the barracks, and he tries to kill Hicksley with his sword. Therias appeared in front of him and kissed Yonoi on the cheeks. Yonoi felt them. He was kissed by the man he fell in love with and fainted. He was overwhelmed by a prisoner he had to rule, and it became impossible for him to do anything. Seeing this, the Japanese soldiers began to beat Therias. Captain Gondo, Yonoi's replacement, played by Hideo Murata, buried Therias in the ground up to his neck and left him there until he died. This climax has a lot of differences between the film and the original novel. In the novel, Therias simply rubs his cheek against Yonoi's cheek, and Yonoi doesn't fall down. Even though there's a description that he would have fallen down if the warrant officer hadn't held him, he didn't fall down. And the first Japanese soldier who starts beating Therias is a veteran soldier who screams like an ape. The expression in the film is quite different. The first soldier to start beating Therias is Hiroshi Mikami, who is also a musician. He is a slim, beautiful young man, and his scream is different from that of an ape. The character also seems to have more than just respect for Yonoi. Hiroshi Mikami plays a role as if he has a feeling of almost love for Yonoi. In the film, Yonoi fell down and could not move. This is different from the novel. In the novel, Yonoi is also shocked, but it is not because the expression of affection was done by a man he loves. It is because it was done by a man Yonoi had to control, and because of the different way of culture. Although Yonoi was fond of Therias, he was not psychologically overwhelmed by him. Yonoi joins in the beating of Serious from the middle. All these changes were made to show that Yonoi was overpowered by Serious. In the film, Yonoi, played by Ryuichi Sakamoto, tells the prisoners in Japanese that "You guys are not sick, don't lie." This line was not included in the script written by Nagisa Ōshima and is reportedly an ad-lib by Sakamoto. "He's interesting," said Nagisa Ōshima. Nagisa Ōshima loved this ad-lib so much that he imitated Sakamoto's tone throughout the editing process. That's what film critic Naofumi Higuchi said to Nagisa Ōshima's son, Arata Ōshima. But this is a strange story. It is because this line, "You are not sick, don't lie," is in the original novel. And it is said that Ōshima described it as Sakamoto's ad-lib. Why was such an ad-lib born? It is likely that Sakamoto, having read the original novel, naturally delivered the line during the filming. But even so, questions remain. Why didn't Nagisa Ōshima include the lines from the original novel in the script? He assumed that Sakamoto's lines quoted from the original novel were his ad-libs. It wasn't in the script, so it must have been ad-libbed. However, it is a line from the original novel. Nagisa Ōshima wrote the script after reading the original novel. Then he should have included expressions that he found interesting in the script. Even if he didn't when he wrote it, he should be reminded of the original expression when he sees Sakamoto's ad-libs. However, Nagisa Ōshima had forgotten the expression of the original novel and considered it to be Sakamoto's idea. When Nagisa Ōshima read the book, he probably didn't find the expression interesting, didn't remember it, and didn't put it in the script. When he saw Sakamoto's act, he probably found it interesting and adopted it. This episode expresses Nagisa Ōshima's human nature. While he makes such ingenious expressions that ordinary people cannot explain, he throws away calculation and hopes that something beyond his imagination will happen on the spot. The essence of the film, Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, is the conflict of love in the forbidden situation between the men, a soldier and a prisoner, during the war. Although it is forbidden, it cannot be stopped. If you focus on the drama created by this situation, the film becomes more interesting. It can be said that the theme of collision of different cultures is more strongly expressed rather in the original novel. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked this video, please subscribe and give me thumbs up.